My son celebrated his $55 million inheritance by evicting me, but he'd only seen will number one. I'll never forget the way my son looked at me that day, not with love, not with respect, not even with the hint of gratitude you'd expect from a child toward the parent who raised him. No, he looked at me as though I were nothing more than an obstacle. An obstacle standing between him and $55 million. For decades, I worked myself to the bone building a life for my family. I wasn't born into wealth. I was a janitor, a laborer, a hustler of odd jobs, anything that kept food on the table and shoes on my son Daniel's feet. When my luck finally turned and an invention of mine caught traction, I poured every cent into building a company. Those were grueling years, but slowly, painfully, it grew. My wife was gone too soon, so it was always just me and Daniel, and everything I earned with him in mind. But money, I've learned, does strange things to people, especially to those who never had to work for it. When I retired, my estate was valued at over $55 million. I had the company, real estate investments, and securities. And yes, I had a will drawn up. But life changes, and so do wills. That's something Daniel never bothered to understand. It started subtly. He became impatient, entitled. He didn't visit unless he needed something, a loan for a business he never cared to nurture, or cash for luxury cars he didn't keep longer than a year. I told myself it was a phase. He was young, reckless. But as the years passed, the phase calcified into his character. And then, one afternoon, I got the shock of my life. He walked into the house, no greeting, no hug, no hint of warmth, and dropped a folder on my lap. "Dad," he said coldly, "I've already spoken to the lawyer. The house is mine now. You need to pack your things. I'll arrange a place for you." I opened the folder. There it was, my old will, the first one I had ever written, back when I naively thought Daniel was the kind of man who would honor what I built. It clearly stated he would inherit everything. But what Daniel didn't know, what he had no patience to discover, was that it wasn't my only will. "Daniel," I said quietly, my voice shaking not from fear but from disappointment, "do you even hear yourself? You're asking your own father to leave his home." He smirked. "It's not yours anymore, Dad. You've had your time. It's my turn now. $55 million isn't going to sit around gathering dust while you putter about this old house." My chest ached, not from his words alone, but from the realization of what he had become. The boy I raised, the one I sacrificed for, the one I'd carried on my shoulders when he was tired, he was gone. All that remained was greed dressed in my son's face. He started celebrating that very night. He brought friends, popped champagne, toasted to his freedom and new life. I watched from the top of the stairs, unseen, as he bragged about the cars he would buy, the parties he would throw, and the house he'd demolish to rebuild something more modern. My heart broke, but my resolve hardened. Because Daniel had only seen will number one. Years ago, after seeing how reckless he'd become, I rewrote my will. The second, and final, will left him something, but far less than he imagined. The bulk of my estate was to be divided among charities, scholarships for underprivileged children, and a foundation in my wife's name. Children who grew up like me, with nothing but determination, would get a chance Daniel had squandered. I called my lawyer, Mr. Carver, the next morning. "It's time," I told him. A week later, Daniel dragged me into court, furious that I hadn't left his house fast enough. He stood there in his expensive suit, smirking, certain the law was on his side. When the judge asked for the most recent version of the will, Daniel shoved forward the old one, confident it was ironclad. Mr. Carver rose calmly. "Your Honor, that will is superseded by this document." He handed over the new will, notarized, signed, and sealed only 2 years prior. The color drained from Daniel's face as the judge read aloud. "To my son, Daniel, I leave a modest trust sufficient for a comfortable life if managed wisely. The remainder of my estate, estimated at $55 million, is to be distributed through the Elizabeth Foundation for Children." The courtroom was silent, except for the sound of Daniel's voice cracking as he shouted, "This isn't fair. He's my father. That money's mine." I finally spoke, my voice steady. "It was never yours, Daniel. It was mine to decide. And I will not reward betrayal with riches. You celebrated too soon." The gavel came down. It was final. Daniel stormed out, slamming the door behind him, his pride as shattered as his illusions of wealth. I wish I could tell you he changed after that he came back to me, humbled, ready to rebuild our relationship. But greed is a disease that blinds a man to his own downfall. As for me, I moved back into my home. Quiet, peaceful, filled with memories of my late wife and the life we built. The foundation launched within months, and I attended its first scholarship ceremony. I watched children, bright-eyed and full of hope, receive opportunities they never dreamed of, opportunities my son had wasted. And in that moment, I realized something important: the true legacy of a parent isn't money. It's values, it's lessons, it's love. I had given Daniel every chance to embody those, but he chose another path. My choice was to ensure that what I built would not be squandered, but used to light the way for those who deserved it. So if you ever wonder about inheritance, about what you'll leave behind, remember this: it isn't the millions that matter. It's what those millions do. And as for Daniel, well, he celebrated an inheritance that never truly belonged to him. In the end, he inherited nothing but the consequences of his own greed.